In this video we're going to take a look at a feature of Excel called Autofill, and the best way to explain it is just to show you how it works. Let's say you need to type in some days of the week. All you have to do is type in the first one and then go to the lower right hand corner where that little square is and wait for the cursor to turn into a skinny black plus sign. That's your fill handle, and it's used for copying, and drag it down. And instead of copying Monday all the way down, it gives you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it just starts over, and it'll keep repeating days of the week in order as far as you drag the cursor. You can also do the same thing with three-letter abbreviations for days of the week. Type in a three-letter abbreviation and take your fill handle and click and drag. It'll fill in the three-letter abbreviations for you. If you try two-letter abbreviations or four-letter abbreviations or something like that, it's not going to work, but it does work with three-letter abbreviations, and it works with complete names of the days. And it does the same thing with months of the year. Type in the name of a month, click and drag, fills in consecutive months. And it does the same thing with three-letter abbreviations. Now there's a problem with May, because May is only 3 letters long. If you start with May, it's going to put in the entire name, so you'd probably have to do May and then June, and then type in June as 3 letters, and then do the autofill from that point on. And again, it's the full names or it's the 3-letter abbreviation. And by the way, you can drag these across too, and the same thing will happen. We're going to undo that. Now, that's not the only thing that you can do. You can use autofill with numbers. In order to do autofill with numbers, you have to give Excel the first 2 numbers so it can figure out what the pattern is. So if I give it 1 and 2, and I have to select both of them so it knows what the pattern is, and then if I click and drag, it will give me consecutive numbers. Whatever the difference is between these first 2 is what I will get. Now let's undo that for a second. And here's a common mistake that people make when they do autofill. They forget to type in, or they forget to grab the 1 when they drag, and then all they get is the number 2. So you got to select, you got to give it 2 numbers so it knows what the step value is to go from one cell to the next, and then you have to select both of them. Okay. And they don't have to be integers. We could do something, we can start any place, and we can have any increment that we want. So we do 5 and 5.25, select both of them, get your fill handle and drag it down, and it increases each number by 0.25. Now this looks a little funny because some of the numbers have 0 decimal places, some have 2, some have 1, and so we're going to go up here on our home tab and go to our number style and make that a comma style, which gives everything 2 decimal places, so that looks a little bit better. So you can do absolutely anything you want to, as long as you give it the first 2 numbers and you want the sequence to be the same increment every time. You can put any 2 numbers in there that you want. You can also put text in front of it. Let's say, for example, that I was keeping track of homework scores on here, and I was going to number them homework 1, homework 2, and so on. If you put any text in front of a number and get your fill handle and click and drag, it'll repeat the text and it'll increment the number. And again, you don't start with 1. If I start with, and the text really doesn't matter, and the number doesn't really matter, so it'll repeat the J's and the K's, and it'll increment the number all the way down. Now there's one exception to this, and that is if you type a Q followed by a 1 and you click and drag, it gets up to 4 and it starts over again. It's because it interprets Q as standing for quarter, and since Excel is used for a lot of business applications and businesses keep track of their finances by quarter, that's a default that was put in. And there's 2 other versions of it. There's QTR, and you can put a space or not put a space, it doesn't matter. You don't start with 1, but type it in with a 3-letter abbreviation QTR and click and drag. And also if you spell out the entire word and click and drag, you'll do the same thing. So autofill is a kind of a neat feature of Excel. It makes it real easy for you to do sequences of either days of the week or months of the year, or sequences of numbers.